something unexpected happened with Jofra Archer, and no one fully understood the reason behind it until his impact became impossible to ignore. He did not arrive with long speeches, dramatic celebrations, or visible emotion. He arrived quietly, delivered briefly, and left damage behind. What you are about to hear is not just another fast bowling story. It is a sequence of moments that explains why Archer became far more dangerous than anyone anticipated, and why his presence alone changed how matches were planned. Opponents prepared for pace, but they underestimated precision. They expected intimidation, but missed the calm that made it lethal. Archer did not announce himself as a threat. He allowed silence, rhythm, and timing to do the work for him. Each spell felt short, yet each over carried consequence. Batsmen realized too late that there was no warning phase, no gradual buildup. The danger arrived instantly. This story reveals how control can be more unsettling than aggression, why simplicity can break resistance faster than spectacle, and how Archer redefined fear without ever appearing hostile. Every detail matters, because with Jofra Archer, the smallest moment often carried the heaviest impact. To understand what made Jofra Archer different, we must begin with the way he entered the game. There was no dramatic buildup, no long period of adjustment, and no visible struggle for acceptance. Archer's presence felt natural, almost understated, as if he had always belonged at the highest level. That quiet arrival became the first clue to his uniqueness. Archer did not rely on constant pace alone. His strength lay in how little he revealed. His expression rarely changed. His approach remained unhurried. While others showed effort, Archer showed balance. That calmness masked the intensity of what followed. The ball left his hand quickly, but his body language gave nothing away. Batsmen struggled not only with speed, but with uncertainty. His background shaped this control. Archer grew up adapting to different conditions, different expectations, and different environments. That adaptability translated into composure. He learned to observe before reacting, to listen before responding. On the field, this meant he did not rush moments. He waited for them. Teammates quickly noticed the effect. Pressure shifted when Archer took the ball. Fields became sharper. Plans became simpler. There was trust in his ability to execute without excess instruction. Captains valued him not only for wickets, but for silence. He allowed others to breathe while he absorbed responsibility. This introduction is not about hype or promise. It is about presence. Archer did not need time to announce his power. He let restraint shape it, and in doing so, he became one of England's most unsettling weapons. It began with small details that were easy to overlook. Jofra Archer did not celebrate wickets loudly. He did not stare batters down or demand attention. After delivering something extraordinary, he simply turned and walked back to his mark. That restraint felt unusual in a role built on intimidation. His spells were short, yet they carried weight. Archer did not need long build-ups to find rhythm. From the first delivery, his pace was present, his control immediate. Batsmen sensed danger without seeing effort. The ball arrived quicker than expected, but nothing in his movements suggested urgency. Observers noticed another pattern. Archer rarely looked hurried between balls. While others reset with visible emotion, he remained neutral. That emotional stillness made it difficult for opponents to read momentum. They could not tell whether he was building pressure or already in control. Even when struck for boundaries, his response did not change. There was no adjustment in body language, no visible frustration. That consistency unsettled batters more than aggression ever could. They could not rely on reaction to guide their next decision. This behavior raised quiet questions. Was he holding back? Was he conserving energy? Or was this simply his natural state? The more he bowled, the clearer it became that this was intentional. Archer was not displaying power, he was managing it. What looked passive on the surface was deeply calculated underneath. and that calculation hinted at something far more serious than raw speed. As Jofra Archer's impact continued, teams began searching for explanations. Coaches, analysts, and commentators tried to define what made his spells feel so disruptive. At first, the answers seemed obvious. Pace was mentioned, height was mentioned, natural athleticism was mentioned. Yet none of those explanations felt complete. Opposition analysts reviewed footage carefully. They slowed deliveries down, examined release points, and compared him to other fast bowlers with similar speed. The data showed that Archer was quick, but not uniquely so. His pace alone did not explain why batters felt rushed, even when the ball was not at its fastest. Then attention turned to his accuracy. His lines were disciplined, his lengths repeatable. Still, many bowlers possessed similar control without causing the same discomfort. Something else was missing from the explanation. Batters themselves struggled to articulate the problem. Some spoke about the ball arriving earlier than expected. Others mentioned awkward bounce. A few admitted that they felt unsure even before the delivery was bowled. That uncertainty became the key theme. Archer was not just challenging technique, he was disrupting anticipation. Captains adjusted fields and rotated strike more aggressively. They attempted to break rhythm through singles and defensive strokes. Archer responded by staying patient. He did not chase wickets, he allowed pressure to accumulate quietly. Every traditional explanation fell short. There was no obvious flaw to exploit, no emotional weakness to provoke, no predictable pattern to wait out. The more teams searched for what was wrong, the clearer it became that the discomfort was structural. Archer was operating in a way that traditional plans were not designed to counter. Despite constant analysis and repeated adjustments, one detail remained unchanged. Jofra Archer never shifted his focus away from the same core objective. He did not chase exaggerated movement, emotional reactions, or visible dominance. His attention stayed fixed on execution, one ball at a time, one exact area, one moment of imbalance. Opposition teams began to notice this fixation. Archer was not hunting wickets in the traditional sense. He was hunting disruption. He bowled as if he knew that something small would eventually break. A mistimed stroke, a delayed reaction, a fraction of doubt. That patience became the real problem. What made this dangerous was how little warning it gave. There was no dramatic spell leading up to collapse. Archer applied pressure evenly, quietly, and without change in expression. Batsmen could survive several overs and still feel unsettled. They could score and yet feel exposed. That psychological weight accumulated unnoticed. Captains tried aggressive counters. They attempted premeditated shots and early attacks. Archer absorbed them calmly. If hit, he adjusted nothing. If defended, he tightened further. That refusal to react removed control from the batter. The contest stopped being emotional and became mechanical, and Archer was more comfortable there. The fixation extended beyond the ball. His field awareness remained sharp. His pace changes were subtle. His intent never shifted. Every delivery served the same purpose: reduce options until error became inevitable. That was the problem point. Archer trusted the process completely, and when a player commits fully to patience, opponents are often the first to lose discipline. The first clear clue appeared during moments that were not dramatic but decisive. Jofra Archer began taking wickets without visible escalation. There was no increase in pace, no exaggerated bouncer sequence, no obvious shift in intent. The breakthrough simply arrived, as if it had been scheduled rather than forced. Observers noticed that dismissals followed periods of quiet pressure. Several overs would pass without incident, then a batter would misjudge length by the smallest margin. The ball would hurry the bat, find the splice, or draw an uncertain defensive stroke. These were not mistakes created by fear alone. They were mistakes created by timing. Replays revealed the pattern. Archer's release point remained consistent. His seam position stayed upright. His length did not drift. What changed was the batter's internal clock. They played too early or too late, never fully comfortable with the speed at which decisions had to be made. Another clue emerged in partnerships. When Archer operated, communication between batters increased. Calls became louder, movements became cautious. That behavior signaled disruption before wickets even fell. Archer was influencing judgment without needing immediate reward. Coaches began to realize that Archer's power was layered. Pace was only the surface. Beneath it was discipline, rhythm, and restraint. He waited until batters adjusted themselves into error. That patience reframed earlier confusion. What once felt mysterious now had shape. Archer was not overpowering opponents randomly, he was guiding them toward the exact moment they would break. The truth became clear once Jofra Archer's role was examined beyond wickets and speed. He was not selected simply to intimidate or to deliver short bursts of aggression. He was chosen to reset contests. Archer's greatest strength was his ability to remove certainty from the game without announcing that he was doing so. Archer did not rely on constant extremes. He did not need to bowl at maximum pace every delivery. Instead, he varied intensity within a narrow range that batters struggled to detect. That subtle variation made decision-making harder. A delivery that looked familiar arrived just differently enough to disturb timing. This is where his real power lived. The revelation extended to his mindset. Archer trusted stillness. He trusted repetition. While others searched for inspiration, he searched for precision. He understood that batters eventually reveal weakness when rhythm is denied. By refusing to overreact, he forced opponents to carry pressure alone. England's captains recognized this quickly. Archer was deployed not only to take wickets, but to end momentum. When partnerships formed, he returned. When crowds lifted, he returned. His presence shortened innings psychologically even before they ended statistically. What seemed effortless was actually disciplined restraint. Archer did not dominate through noise or excess. He dominated by controlling space, time, and expectation. That was the reveal. England had not found a fast bowler who overwhelmed through warning signs. They had found one who struck before warning was even possible. Jofra Archer's career demonstrates that true power in cricket does not always announce itself. Impact often comes from timing, awareness, and the ability to shape outcomes before opponents realize what is happening. Archer shows that control, patience, and precision can be more destructive than raw speed alone. His approach forces opponents to react before they are ready, creating mistakes without visible pressure. Beyond statistics and wickets, Archer's presence transforms the psychological landscape of the game. Batters hesitate, partnerships falter, and momentum shifts even before a ball is delivered. His discipline underpins England's strategies, reinforcing the idea that dominance is as much about mental control as it is about physical ability. The lesson is clear. Power without warning is not chaos. It is preparation meeting instinct. When skill, patience, and timing combine, even a few overs can decide matches. Archer proves that understanding the game deeply and acting decisively within it creates a legacy that goes beyond individual performance.